Hi everyone, this is Dr. Mike, host of the free iTunes podcast, Psychiatric Secrets Revealed with Dr. Mike, but that's not why I'm here today. This is another Saving Savvy episode, this time talking about making Daddy's terrific tea tree lotion. That's a lot of words there. But first, I have to tell you a secret. All of my life, I've had dry skin. It's really miserable. Sometimes I would just scratch and scratch and scratch. But a few years ago, I was on vacation and went to some shop somewhere and bought a couple of products that had tea tree extract in them. And I found that the tea tree extract really had a pretty significant effect on reducing that itchiness. When I got home, I looked at the local shops and I really couldn't find any lotions that had tea tree extract. And I knew that I could probably go to like some boutique-y place or a health food store, but frankly I didn't want to spend $20 for 4 or 8 ounces of something that I could make myself for a lot less. So I decided to come up with my own formula for tea tree lotion. I started using it, I liked it a lot. My wife started using it, she liked it a lot. My kids started using it and they liked it a lot. And in fact, it's my one daughter who named the product Daddy's Terrific Tea Tree Lotion, which is kind of stuck in the family. So she gets credit for that. But a couple of disclaimers. One, I'm not a dermatologist. I just made this for my own personal use, so use it at your own risk. Number two, if you have a serious skin condition, if it's something beyond just regular dry skin, please get medical help. And number three, this is not a totally from scratch recipe. This is sort of like those recipes that our moms used to make where they would take a can of pork and beans and add a bunch of stuff and take it to a picnic. Well, this is my version of it with lotion. It's very simple. I think making lotion is great, but this is kind of the down and dirty option here. So let's go into the kitchen and make some lotion. Okay, this is what you're going to need to make Daddy's Terrific Tea Tree Lotion. You'll need some basic equipment. So you'll need some sort of a container. I'm just using an old disposable loaf pan here, but you could use a bowl of any sort. Some measuring spoons, a funnel, and here again I saved a few pennies by buying the funnel from the automotive section of the store. It doesn't need to be food grade. Some sort of a rubber or silicone spatula, and some sort of mixing device, either a whisk or I'm using an immersion blender. This particular blender has a whisk attachment to it, but you could just use a regular immersion blender too. This really makes the job go faster, and you can get these blenders for under $20. Of course, these components should only be used for your cosmetic making. You should not then go and make a cake with this stuff, otherwise it's going to taste like cosmetics. And so just they're very cheap cheap things, so buy them just for this task or other cosmetic tasks. As far as ingredients goes, not very much. You're going to need a 24.5-ounce bottle of unscented lotion. I like buying the house brand of Vaseline Advanced Healing. I think that's a pretty good kind of lotion for me anyways, and the house brand is usually a couple dollars less, and it seems to work just as well. But you could use your own homemade lotion, or you could use some sort of boutique lotion if you wanted, but just make sure that it's unscented. You're also going to need some honey, and you're probably asking, why do we have such a giant bottle of honey? And that's because I also do some bread baking. You're going to need a bottle of tea tree oil extract and a bottle of lavender extract, and you can get those at health food stores, Whole Foods, or online. You simply dump the lotion into your container. Here my assistant Will is providing the labor, and that's what it looks like when it's all dumped in, nice and creamy and pretty pleasant. Now Will is adding 1 full teaspoon of tea tree oil extract, and that's about the max that you want to add for this amount. And in fact, this might be a little too strong for you. You might want to go with a 1/4 teaspoon or a 1/2 teaspoon for your first batch, just to see if that's sufficient. I wouldn't add more though than 1 teaspoon. And then 1 teaspoon of honey to the mix, and then a 1/4 teaspoon of lavender. Lavender is soothing, it's pleasant, and it kind of cuts the medicinal smell just a little bit. as far as the tea tree oil goes. When you put this lotion on, you're going to smell like tea tree oil, but after a little bit, the tea tree oil fades and you get a little bit of the lavender, which has kind of a soapy smell. And then you're going to blend it. Now with an immersion blender like this, it's going to take you about 3 or 4 minutes of blending. If you're using just a hand whisk, probably double that amount of time. And if you still see some liquidy, oily stuff on the surface, it means you need to blend more. So you can see Will is concentrating quite a bit on blending this perfectly, but we still did have a few splatters, but that's okay. It's all in the fun of making this stuff. Then you just put your funnel on the top, use your spatula to get some of the lotion into the funnel, and then just tap it down into the bottle. Repeat the process until the bottle's full and your mixing container is empty. And reseal everything up and we're ready to go. And this 24.5 size will last quite a number of weeks, even with my large family. Now I'll say personally, if I needed to make, or if I wanted to make 2 bottles at once, I would make them as separate batches, because that way I know that the amount that I make per batch will fit into the bottle. I'm not getting overfill or that sort of a thing. So I would do 2 separate ones as opposed to 1 big batch, but maybe you're more skilled than I am. Well, there's my episode on Daddy's Terrific Tea Tree Lotion. Hope you found it helpful. And if you get some time, give my podcast, Psychiatric Secrets Revealed with Dr. Mike, a listen. It's totally free. It's on iTunes, and it's pretty informative and a very different format than this show. By the way, this is Mabel. She wanted to contribute to today. Hello, Mabel. Bye-bye.